Transformers the movie didn't just premiere in 1986. It came in like a shot from Megatron across pop culture. This wasn't some obscure animated feature. It was a phenomenon that traumatized kids, featured Orson Welles in his final role, and essentially shocked an entire fan base in the first act alone. The film cost more per minute than most live-action movies and created a soundtrack that became a classic. But here's the thing about 80s cultural touchstones. They don't always age gracefully. Watching it in 2025 raises a key question. Does this hold up as actual cinema, or are we all just victims of nostalgia? We're diving in to find out if this was a misunderstood masterpiece or just the most effective toy commercial ever made. Find out today as we watch another movie at Grandma's house. Hello. Please come in and welcome to Grandma's. I'm your host, Isaac. Autobots, roll out. And who's with me considering the movie? The Transformers, the movie.
This is Seth. Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
It is great to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just really excited for this one.
Oh, yes. This is going to be one that is just going to hit us in the nostalgia. We say that about a lot, but this is one especially. But before we jump into this one, let's make sure you at home get the proper spoiler warning. We're going to be going into this film, dissecting it, talking about it. So if you've not seen this film, consider yourself warned. Yes, we are considering The Transformers, the movie. Some facts about this movie. It was released back on August 8th, 1986. It had a budget of $6 million. Box office, though, $5.9 million. Some reviews, just looking around, IMDb, 7.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has a 62%, and Metacritic is at a 43%. Now, unfortunately, as of this recording, you will not be able to stream this for free, so you're going to have to rent it, buy it, or dust off that old VHS and kick back and relax while you watch it old school. And it stars the legendary Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, Frank Welker as Megatron, and Orson Welles in his final role. And a fun fact, Robert Stack, the unsolved mysteries man himself, is also in this film. It was produced by Sunbow Productions and Marvel Productions and Toei Animation. And last but not least, we have Granny's family-friendly rating. So Seth, what is that rating?
Granny's family-friendly rating for Transformers the movie is D+ for violence and language.
There you go. Maybe a little surprising to hear that, but we'll get into it. We'll talk about why Granny feels this way. But let's start with our first memories. Again, this is almost 40 years old. It's crazy to think about it, but what are some of your first memories?
I remember watching this all through my childhood. Transformers was a staple in our house growing up. So honestly, this was kind of on repeat for a while.
Very nice. Well, I remember Transformers, the toys, the TV show. I'll be honest, this was about the time I was just too young to watch it. I don't remember us really having it or watching it. It wasn't until I was older that I watched it, but I recall enjoying it. I liked it, and I'll just say it's been a long time since I'd seen it. So this was kind of going back into it fresh. I remember a lot of plot points. We'll obviously discuss them, but it was one I didn't really have much of the childhood. It was more of the series Transformers. That's the nostalgia I have for it. So I was really excited to go back and watch that one, kind of getting into expectations. But going back to you, what were your expectations on the rewatch?
Really, I was just hoping that it was as good as I remembered.
There you go. Yeah, and for me, the usual, the checkbox of I hope my kids will enjoy it. My kids really enjoyed the TV shows. We started them from the original, the 1980s. We went back to the classic, not all those iterations that we see. We thought, let's start back there, and they've enjoyed it. So my usual, just see what their thoughts are. And also, since this was kind of feeling a little fresh, it'd been a while, I was hoping, kind of like you, I hope it's as good as I remember. I hope it can hold up now almost 40 years later. Well, before we get to our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with MoviePosters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, They have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. Let's take the VHS out of the cover, let's put it in the VCR, and press play.
2005, the battle between the Autobots and Decepticons has escalated through their home world, Cybertron, which is the Decepticons have conquered. Without Optimus Prime, after a conflict on Earth takes his life, the Autobots must face a destiny which they know nothing about. Join us at Grandma's, grab a cookie, and settle in for this 1986 adventure.
There you go. Yeah, this has got a lot of things that kind of hit you when you're first watching it, but I'm really interested. Let's kind of get an overview, if you will. What were your first impressions when you're watching this film?
Well, honestly, I was expecting this movie to not hold up well, considering the date and it's animated. But I had I watched the 35th anniversary remastered Blu-ray copy, and I thought it really held up. And I was kind of shocked. Really, most of the movie is pretty strong animation.
That's really cool because I felt the same way. And it was just the animation. It just drew me in. There's something about it. It was engrossing. I mean, I was thinking to myself, well, this was 1986. I mean, maybe this animation's not going to age well. I thought it was really, really good. I was just blown away. That was kind of my first impressions. And it's a very fast-paced movie. It's just nonstop action. And the animation is just shines here, I think, even all these years later. And I have to say, I didn't have the Blu-ray like you did. I watched this on the original format, like that quality. So, yeah, it was just like, my goodness, it still holds up even today. I was just shocked. I mean, it was... Yeah, I mean, what did you think of the action as you're watching it? I mean, that's kind of the other thing that sticks out to me, the action alone.
The action was everywhere. It was practically the entire film. So it was right at you, and you were either immersed in it or you didn't like it. So it's all, that's what it was.
Yeah, you better know what you're getting into with this one.
Yeah,
it is an action fest. And I even made a note, like, I see why Michael Bay adopted this movie, because he drew a lot of inspiration from this. Obviously the whole series, but this movie is where he was really pulling some of the scenes. You could kind of see it a little bit, because this was just explosions. So get ready. I mean, this is what you're going to be in for.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing, I'm going to throw it to you. I mean, we're kind of dancing around it, but the thing about this movie is kind of that first act. It's kind of shocking. I mean, what'd you think of that?
So in the first act, they kill off the main character of the cartoon series, and all I could think of is what the reactions were in the movie theater, because it's so shocking. It was shocking today. Like when I watched it, I was blown away by them killing off Optimus right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it still hit me today. I remember that going back to, this was kind of fresh, but I still remembered it, but it still hit me. I mean, there's just something about the movie draws you in. It drew me in. And so when that moment happened, even though I was expecting it, it was just like, whoa, this was a bold move, very bold move. And going back to, we were watching the original 80s before we watched the movie. And what I can really bring out is just the difference. Like the TV show, you'd see them in trouble and then something would happen. They'd be rescued or somebody would jump in and be saving the day. This was not the case. It's just like they're falling left and right. Like they're just getting mowed down. And I mean, I was shocked with Optimus, but I was really shocked with Starscream. I mean, Megatron, he gets turned into Galvatron and he just one-shot Starscream. And it's like, whoa, still to this day, it shocked me. Like, how did you feel about that scene and just overall? I mean, man.
I was blown away. I wrote down for the plot, like, although it was extremely dark, I really enjoyed the plot. Those scenes were they were a little cringy and hard to watch, actually, especially if you're a fan of the originals.
Yes. I mean, the one episode that we watched before they go onto this like dinosaur island. This was in the 80s TV show, and it's like a time warp. And of course, the Decepticons, that's kind of the template. They kind of had the same story. Decepticons are trying to get some kind of power. Autobots stop them and move on to the next. Well, this one, they were harnessing the power from the island in some way. And the Dinobots with Grimlock and the others, they fall in this tar pit. And it's actually left like that's going to be resolved in part 2. So that kind of had a cliffhanger, but they get rescued, they get saved, all that. No, like he brought out Optimus Prime, he fights Megatron and he gets taken out. And a lot of other well-known Autobots. And I mean, if the characters are what you grew up watching, I mean, Soundwave was one that was my favorite. He has like the Autobots that come out and things like that. You have Jazz. What are some of the characters that you liked?
Same. For me, it was Soundwave, Jazz, Optimus, Starscream. In the later editions, I kind of landed myself more towards the Decepticons because I thought they were a little bit cooler. They had more like higher technology and they just were a little bit more sleek. But I've always been a fan of those guys. And on the show, I loved all the cars. The cars were really cool, the sports cars and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I also like Ironhide. I'll kind of throw him in there. He's kind of like, you see the similarities a little bit. We just considered Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I kind of considered him like the Raphael. He's kind of the edgier, rough around the edges guy. But you need that. It's a nice dynamic with the characters. Optimus is always one to bring everybody back level-headed. But then he gets taken out. So again, that's why it's just so shocking. It's like, my goodness, even to this day, if you see it coming, I don't know, for me, it was so impactful. It was just so crazy how this cartoon is moving you emotionally. Like, wow, this is Optimus. Like, how could they do that to my boy? Like, come on, it was like, but man, everything else, I just have a few notes here. I'm just like, this movie screams 80s. The feel of it, the soundtrack. I mean, it just really, it can be a good and a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Maybe that's where you say, oh, this is dated. I actually enjoyed it. I mean, what did you think about like the music or like the 80s elements?
It was very high production. It made me think these songs were probably written 40 years ago. But, it fit the movie. I thought it really, that was another thing. Like, I was wondering if the music was going to hold up or if it was going to be like completely off the wall. It actually fit. So I was kind of shocked that animation was pretty decent considering the time, if you consider the time. And then the music, it felt a little dated, but it was still very accurate for the actual scenes of the film.
Yeah. I was pulled into it. Like, I loved it. I can definitely see it's out of date, and maybe that's a put off for some. Maybe it's a little cheesy. I mean, when it kicked into, you got the touch, you got the power. Like, for me, I was drawn in. I loved it. It was when Optimus and Megatron start fighting. I'm just like, yeah. It was just, it brought me back to 80s. It was kind of like maybe that cheesy 80s music, but I don't know. I loved it. I thought it fit well. I completely agree with you, though. There's just something about that, the feel of the 80s. And I mean, Transformers are 80s, so it's obvious. It's going to show its age, but I don't know. And what really blew me away, there was a song. I don't know if you're thinking about it too, but when it came on, I was just kind of like, is that what it is? Do you know what song I'm thinking of?
It's the Weird Al song, yeah.
I was just like, wait, is that Weird Al? Like, yeah, it is. I that was one I didn't remember. Did you?
I honestly forgot about it, and I really am surprised that I did because I was kind of a Weird Al fan, growing up. So,
yeah, we got to give a shout out to Ajax. He's filled in on the show. He's a big Weird Al fan. So when that came on, I immediately thought of him. I was like, I bet he knew that already, obviously, but it was just so. Like, it actually fits. You would not think that. If someone said, Weird Al is in a Transformers movie, and it's serious. It's not being silly or funny in a way. I mean, the song's called Dare to Be Stupid, but it's his version of like a Devo song. It's not parodying. It's just parodying that genre, that style. But it fits. I don't know. I don't know what else to say just about the music.
Worked.
Yeah. It works. I don't know what else to say about it. But one thing that I was also kind of like, this is really cool, like when it comes to the plot, was the villain. What'd you think about the big baddie? Obviously you have Megatron, but the big baddie of this one, what'd you think of him?
Honestly, I was kind of drawn in with that. That's I guess what I was talking about as far as like the plot. Like there's plot points that get to it, but once that comes to the end of the 4, it's kind of just draws you in, and you're kind of stuck, like thinking, what's going to happen, because this looks like it could end everything. So, I was really shocked.
Yes. He's just this like big Death Star floating and just eating stuff. Unicron is his name. And he's kind of like, they actually, if this shows you my nerd side of like a Galactus and Death Star, if they got morphed together, because he gives Megatron that power like Galactus, he has the power cosmic in the comic books and all this, gives it to Silver Surfer. So he's kind of like his Silver Surfer in a way. The Megatron becomes Galvatron, and again, going back to one shot Starscream. I mean, he's like menacing, like they both are. And that's where, like you said, it raises the stakes. You feel like, are they going to get out of this? Like, this isn't this, you're used to your 80s Saturday morning cartoon. No, buckle up. You're in for a ride, because that's what this is. It's a totally different ride, but I actually enjoyed it. As dark as it is, I agree with your comments that this was dark, but it was well done. I mean, it takes you on that fun ride, despite the intense scenes and all that. So, anything else? Anything that kind of sticks out to you? Just anything overall?
Like you were saying, it's darker than I recalled, but overall, it's a strong film. They somehow piece this together. It's a lot of chaos in this film, but it works. It somehow it works. It's, we haven't talked about it, but it's very violent, and throughout, and it's got some language in it. But yet, the film, it's still overall, if you it still works.
Yeah. That's true. That's one thing, is there's some, intense violence. These are robots, and but it's depicted. I'm thinking of the scene where Megatron and the Decepticons, they take over an Autobot spaceship, and they just mow them down. Like, they just take them out, and they're taking over the ship, and there's one Autobot left, and he's just like reaching up. So it's depicting those like intense scenes you see in movies. These are Transformers. These are robots, but it's still, like you said, it's that violence is there. And just out of the ordinary, just language. I mean, we've talked about other movies we reviewed. It's just a sign of the time, probably because the 80s, they just did that a lot in movies. Yeah, I don't know if it was a studio move or something where they had to meet a quota, where it's like, we got to throw this language or intense violence more than usual.
Yeah.
It just felt a little unnecessary. But other than that, I mean, it was a great ride. I had a lot of fun with this one with my kids. They seemed to enjoy it. They were very drawn into it because it was intense. I've talked about they're quiet, and they were definitely quiet with this one. There was a lot of, I think they were just in shock, like I was, even to this day, with Optimus and others, that they're just like, what? That kind of a reaction.
Wow.
So it was a fun in a different way. I'll say that as much. So, all right. Well, I'm really interested. I'm sure you've got some good, fun facts, so I can't wait to hear them.
I do, and I've got a lot, so I'll try to rattle them off. So, although a toy was not released until 2003, an action figure of Unicron was designed, but the prototype had flimsy arms and a faulty voice chip and was scrapped.
Oh, man. That would be a really big toy.
So I don't know what you know about the toys for Transformers, but the way they animate them, they try to duplicate that with how the toy, morphs, with how it, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my goodness, my brain's went blank.
Just moves and
yeah. When it transforms, oh my goodness, it transforms. Yeah. So
what's the word?
So I think I recall hearing about this, that they actually had to like redo this over and over again to make it actually sturdy enough to make it work. And so that's pretty cool that they actually waited until 2003 to release a toy for this. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That'd be a hard toy to make, so that's understandable.
Yes.
Yeah. You can see that.
And then another one was Gears is seen next to Ironhide for one scene in the movie's beginning. He had lines, but they were deleted. However, he is still listed in the ending credits.
That's awesome. I'm glad they did that. That's, even though they didn't use it, that was a hard work put into the film. Yeah. So they recognize it. I'm I'm in favor of that. So
Yeah, voiceover actors need to be recognized. So
I agree.
the next one, the 20th anniversary DVD special edition of the movie was released from Sony Music Video on November 7th, 2006. The 30th anniversary Blu-ray special edition of the movie was released from Shout Factory on September 13th, 2016. Both special editions featured remastered video and included the widescreen and full frame versions of the movie.
Wow. Okay. I didn't think about that. Again, this is almost 40 years old, so distribution and rights, they can switch.
Yeah.
So that's good to know if you're trying to get the physical copies. If you're a collector, that's good to know. That's some good stuff because you might have to go hunting for it since it's probably not produced.
The one I got is the 35th anniversary, so it's pretty cool.
Nice. Very
It's
nice.
got a couple special features on it. It's not too amazing, but yeah.
Still cool.
The next one, at the beginning, when the Autobots are taken off on their ship, Optimus Prime orders Cliffjumper, commence the countdown. Cliffjumper was voiced by Casey Kasem, who hosted America's Top 40 for many years.
Yes, that's another one too. I forgot. I was bringing out like Robert Stack. There's so many 80s voices that if you could just close your eyes, it's like you recognize them. So that's another one. I forgot about that. Yes.
Part of childhood for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The next one I've got here is this was the last Marvel animated film to have a theatrical release until Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in 2018.
Whoa. Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
That is. Wow. I didn't think about it, but that is true. It's one of those you think about it. It's like, yeah, that is right. Like for an animated Marvel. Wow. Well, Marvel's more popular today. So you're talking, maybe there's not going to be that much of a gap talking between those types of movies. But wow, that's really cool.
All right. So it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
What was the code name for the Operation Soundwave sent Rumble, Frenzy, Ravage, and Ramjet during the attack on the Autobot city? A, Operation Blockade, B, Operation Interference, or C, Operation First Defense?
I wish I was paying more attention because those all sound like I remember that scene. I can picture it. And
it was the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
Oh, man. Wow. I think I'm just going to go with C. I think there's something about it that I'm just going to go C.
Unfortunately, it's B, Operation Interference, but maybe next time I'll have a different type of question and we can get you back on track.
I think I'm bad at trivia. I think that's what I'm learning about myself, but I think you're getting pretty good. Those all sounded like what I recall. I can faintly remember that scene. I just didn't pay close enough attention. So for future movies, I think I'm just going to have to really pay attention to those little details. You might try to trip me up with them.
All right. We'll keep at it.
I'll keep trying, but thank you for that, sir. Well, let's move into our reviews around the net. We like to look around, just kind of see what kind of reviews are out there. So Seth, what kind of reviews you seeing?
The first one is Tom Gillespie 2002 says, "Will always retain a place in our hearts of us children of the 80s. 7 out of 10.
I could tell those are ones that have the nostalgia there, but that's really nice. A really solid review too. Yeah.
And the next one was Fluke_Skywalker said, "Much more than meets the eye. 7 out of 10.
Very nice. Yes, part of the theme song. But yeah, another solid 7 out of 10. That's a solid rating.
The last one I found was Jeremy Crimson Fox says, "Transformers first big foray on the big screen. 9 out of 10.
Wow. All right. So they really like it. And I know a few, they really like this one. It still holds up. But for me, again, it'd been a while since I'd seen it. So I can definitely see that kind of a rating though.
And next we have actually a comment from a super fan. It says, from Jonathan, it says, he says, "For many years I was frustrated and hurt by that movie. Killing off characters that I watched every day was just too traumatic at all at once. Now I've come to appreciate it for what it is, a well-directed movie to honor the past and introduce new characters. I've purchased multiple DVDs and Blu-rays for new special features, and then I'll watch it over again. It has truly become part of my life.
Very nice. Yeah, that's one that messaged us. So thank you, Jonathan, for that. And that's something we've talked about. We might try to on our socials. We'll give you the handles at the end here, but you can connect with us. We might put out movies we're doing. So if you want to share with us, you want to message us, we'll give you a shout out. And even if it's movies we haven't covered or we have covered in the past, feel free to, message us. We'd love to hear those memories. We love hearing those. So yeah, thanks again, Jonathan, for sharing that with us. We really appreciate that. All right, let's get down to it. So now it is time for our reviews. So Seth, I'm going to start with you. Like we always do, ask you the question for The Transformers, the movie. How are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Are you going to hide it in the attic?
So I'm actually going to watch this at grandma's because I think it's a good movie, but it's a bit outdated. I mentioned the animation is pretty good and the music is pretty good, but it's darker than I remembered. And that being said, I thought also that the violence was a little extreme and the language was a little more than I expected. And it seemed a little like out of date as far as like the concept or the, you know what I mean? Like the actual, how they did it. And I do appreciate the movie. It's a good film, but I'm going to watch it at grandma's and look forward to it. I think it's one of those higher tiers of watch it at grandma's.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not gonna hold anything back. I'm actually going to almost mirror yours as well. I'm also gonna give it a watch it at grandma's, and I think for the quality of this movie, the fact that it was able to hold up to me that well, you would think it should be a take it home. I think as a quality movie, it could get that rating. But for me personally, I am very happy to revisit this one every once in a while, and I put it the same way you put it. It's like that top tier. Watch it at grandma's. So every once in a while, we're going to go visit grandma's. Oh, I hope she gets Transformers out because I had a great time with this movie. It was a lot of fun. I was really engrossed and drawn into it. I didn't think I was, but the animation's I'm still just surprised how well the animation has held up. It was so well done. And the story, it's impactful. It's got high stakes in this one. So it draws you in. I do agree those are probably the downsides of it is very violent, is very intense. It's a part of the plot, but there's also that language. It's just kind of random thrown in there, unnecessary to me, especially because this is a children's TV show. Again, it's got the violence in the show and stuff, but this is, again, that premise. I just go back to it was the product of the time. Just that's how movies were, but still, even watching it today, I wish they would have took that out. But overall, I'm with you. I can't wait to revisit this one again soon. All right. Well, there you go, folks. Another movie in the books. This was one of those that just kind of hit the nostalgia. We say that a lot, but this one I think was one of those, especially if you grew up in the 80s, 90s, just fun to go back down memory lane on. Well, before we wrap things up, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a newsletter. Keep up to date all things Movies at Grandma's House. And we are on Patreon. Check us out. Become a member. Go to movieposters.com and type in Grandma's House 15 at checkout for 15% off.
There you go. Thank you, good sir, for that. So again,
welcome.
Check us out with our newsletter because we just recently had a winner for our monthly giveaway to movieposters.com. They just won a free poster of their choice. So if you want to get in on the fun, if you are not already, make sure you subscribe. We'll have a link down below. Be on our newsletter because that's also the best way to keep up to date with all things Movies at Grandma's House. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's House. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.